Hey, greetings, fellow game changers. This is Rich, aka the Game Changer, coming at you once more. And this is a follow-up video to my other one where I discuss forgers and commanders a bit here. It's part of my abstractions of war, looking at chess variants, etc., doing it, and just having the same layout I did in the last video. But I wanted to really focus more on the forger role here. I felt the need to explain why the importance of it relating here. And that important is both from the part of gameplay and also relating to the abstracting of war. So, let's explain what it was. Forging, as I said in the other video, had to do with changing the battlefield in regards to fundamentally changing the rules of engagement, etc. Doing it the introduction of new weapons, introducing new tactics. Well, less tactics, but more the equipment and the environment that you're playing in here. This stuff here. I had mentioned the forging was shown up in collectible card games, these trading card games like this one, Spellfire or Magic. You also had deck building games like Dominion, which we had those there. So anyhow, in that, what you have here is that this, along the lines of what forging is, I said changing the battle fundamentally. You can think of it along the lines of, and a more extreme version of it would be modding of a game. But it's a little bit more bounded because it fits to the rules of the game. And it's done for strategic and tactical reasons to gain changing advantage by introducing new equipment on the board here. And that's what you're looking at here. So that's what it was. It's kind of modding in a sense for strategic reasons, and then having the rules for play balancing. And I looked at another reason for that here. I did another video on it. Anyhow, I want to look at the two parts of why this matters here, and I've been struggling a bit for what it was here. I figure I'll break out the first part. Again, I mentioned the gameplay is one of them, and why it relates to abstraction war. Normally in a game here, particularly like an abstract strategy game or anything else here, what you have here is you have your basic equipment. And normally people act as a commander role where they're moving the equipment on the board. They're picking up, moving, etc. That's what they're doing. That's what they're doing there. They're moving, so on and so forth. They're also figuring out strategies on how to combine movement together, or if cards, trying to build, trying to figure out what they're going to do, customizing their approach to the game here. Thing about abstract strategy games is the moment one's set up, let's say chess here. I'm going to take my checkers off the board here. Like in chess with a regular setup that you have. That's interesting, I did that there. In chess, the thing that you have here with a pure abstract strategy game is the moment it comes into existence, it has an expiration date on it. Games like backgammon, for example, or poker, or something else which has a random element, has variety in it that determines things that they have here, and luck can end up randomizing it there. Problem with like a pure abstract strategy game in area of chess is that has an expiration date. It's going to die, etc. Eventually will get solved, broken, whatever you're going to say here. So people have considered introducing things like more random elements to a game. But the other approach here, as seen, and this is why I have the decks here, for example, you see like these here. The issue, and you'll see it with even board games there. Like Magic, the Gathering, particularly a game like Dominion, other games they have here, the deck building games, etc. Games that involve that there. Use expansions and force players to adjust, and that's why Magic as a living game has it that way. So it ends up being a place that's viable because it has variety and people can't get locked in, and the strategies don't get static, and what you've tried in the past doesn't work. It's also that approach there. If you have expansions or adding new content, you create a viable economy for certain things in the game here. So that is one thing that's useful according for it here. It's also another area that happens here, typically with chess or anything else, the really creative or innovative player, and I just highlight that for no reason, bear with me. The creative or the innovative player in a game that's like a pure abstract strategy game doesn't come out. What the forger role is, this entire plan of changing, what you're having here with this is you give an outlet for creativity. And depending on how broad it is, that you allow modding for strategic reasons, down to even totally changing equipment and introducing new pieces. When you have that there, you allow an outlet for the creative player. You allow an outlet for everything else here. Now, somebody wants to say, I want to play the game, same game Kasparov did like a decade ago. It ends up running issues. Because chess even changed. So there is that need for creativity, and this provides an outlet to players who are creative to have it here, rather than the other ones that are just mastering the environment or taking what it was. Now there's a challenge involved with this here. I noticed one thing when I've done this here that people want to have a random thing. So you can treat this as the game system randomly creating environments and having players to adjust in the environment. But if you want to have things where players totally come from the outside and set up, then you're going much more along the lines of forging, which again is the modding for strategic reasons for. Now that's from the viability of a gameplay perspective here. And it's one of the areas I have that the whole idea of commanders on the battlefield, that has been historically the way games are done here. It's normally the commander approach where you're ordering units on the board here. So anyhow, let's look at an abstraction of war perspective, and even the most fundamental place where this puts in, where somebody will actually change the battlefield and everything else. Well, it's been said, war never changes. Well, that could be true, that you've universal strategy and everything else, but one of the things that's actually true about war not changing is a new invention and new weapons on the battlefield. So the idea of adding forging, which is actually that term about forging weapons, and that's where it comes from. Where forging matters in this, in regards to the game, is this represents invention or research and development that way, and that area. That's what it represents in a game. So it's important to have this role in a game if you're doing abstracting a war, to allow individuals who are the inventor types to come up with things that fit in the environment and work that allow them to be creative. And that innovating approach, which forces an opponent's strategies to not work, is what matters here. It also, there's the fostering creativity. And besides the way, the last thing here is that this also makes the game much more watchable to people to follow it and keep it dynamic as opposed to what's happening, because things get stale. So I want to follow up here. So there's gameplay reasons I have it for the viability of a game and making it interesting and offering out for creativity. And the fact is, if you're doing an abstraction of war, you want chess to be an abstraction of war, these chess-like games, you need to have this aspect of it, because the idea of inventioning and rolling out new weapons on the battlefield as a way to differentiate, besides the tactics, strategies, etc., is a critical, important part. So that is another critical reason for having it. So anyhow, just wanted to speak a bit more, and this is the follow-up here, and this is why it matters. This is the Invention as a Weapon, Part 2. And we're done here. So I do want to thank you for listening here. We'll be uploading this video soon. I got some other stuff to get on, and figured on a snowy day here, I would actually get this video up here to do it. I've been procrastinating, but the idea of the importance of it really in abstraction work came in, and that's why I did it. So I'm out. I know maybe this might not get a lot of views, but I'm interested in it. And here's the one thing, just to remind you again, the checkers in this configuration is one thing I said before. It's interesting. And the checker is a very dangerous piece. So check out those videos. So I'm out. I'll have some other videos up here. I'll be doing more videos in the series as I think about them. So, I'm done. So, what I'll say here is I do want to thank you for listening. May your die always roll 5. And remember, don't hate the player. Change the game. Okay, I'm signing out. Good night, everybody. Take care.